friends. Hello. Hold on, I'm tweeting.
Sorry. Trying to connect Necro Wrestling, so we're both unprepared.
Yay. We're so locked in.
That was so fake.
I'm gonna be honest, y'all. If it's not obvious, I'm not into it. Typically, Dani's the one who just has like no energy when she doesn't like something. They broke me. Like I'm broken. Like they broke me. I don't think I felt this broken since like Elimination Chamber 2023. Like when Sammy lost, and that was my last straw, and I stopped watching Raw and SmackDown regularly after that. Yeah, they broke me. Dynasty kind of broke my spirit as it relates to this shit. And I knew I was really broken. They put out literally all my favorite wrestlers out there, and I felt nothing. Like don't get me wrong, it was nice to see them. Like, I always love seeing Kenny Omega. I will never not love seeing Kenny Omega. I will never not love seeing my glorious EVPs. And they do look glorious, y'all. They look good. Like
one was looking a little orange.
Yes, but it'll wash off. I don't feel energetic, and to the point to where I'm gonna be honest, I'm cutting my all-in trip short. As it stands right now, that whole stay for a week shit is dead. I'm still going to the show because, like I promised, like I'm going to spend time with a friend who lives in Dallas, and I look forward to that, and it's going to be really fun. But the way that it's going, and what we hear, and like the rumors, y'all, Mox is not losing it all in. I'm gonna be real. I don't think the fact that he's not losing, bro. They carrying this shit out to Wrestle Dream, dog. And I'm letting you know right now, today, I won't be there. I won't be. I can't do it. I just can't do it, bro. I can't do it. Y'all broke me.
All right. Well, good morning, church. So many things. Okay, I have lots of thoughts, and actually, art dependent. My thoughts about Dynasty.
You're skipping.
What'd you call me?
I said you were skipping.
Again, a slur again. We went over this, but the thing about Dynasty this year for me was that, and maybe it wasn't fair, but I kept viewing it in direct comparison to Dynasty last year, which was an all-timer. Last year's Dynasty, if you look at that shit, that card was fucking insane. And honestly, to Dynasty this year, looking at the card, it wasn't going to be quite the same. Oh my gosh, did I just kill myself? Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that part was back. Working on it. Anyway, Danielson was obviously part of it. He was not the only part. That show had bangers up and down and sideways. And so going into this Dynasty, I knew it was going to be that. As a result, I was already underwhelmed going into it. Okay, I'm going on my phone. Ignore me.
Okay. She'll be back. But I will say I do agree about the last year's Dynasty set the bar so high for Dynasty to where, and here's the thing, I honestly didn't have a problem with the show. It was fun. It was cool, right? Like I love the opener. Ospreay versus Kevin Knight was a ton of fun. Julia versus Mercedes was inoffensive. I do think, as much as like I don't care for them, but I do think that the FTR heel turn was done really well. Obviously the Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe match, those two always make magic together. The international title three-way was, really good. I think it's just so much of, I get it. People are like, oh, you got to let it play out. I've been watching wrestling for most of my life at this point. I'm 27 years old. I've been watching almost 20 years. Okay. Like nobody needs to explain to me how professional wrestling works and how to watch a long-term story play out. I'm gonna be honest, that's the part that's really getting on my fucking nerves. Like, and so many like men and weirdos just trying to mansplain. You don't get it. You don't understand wrestling. You don't understand a real heel. Don't insult my intelligence like that, because now I'm starting to get pissed off.
Shut
Y'all
the fuck up.
You're sheep. You're sheep.
People,
when the billionaire tells you to jump, you jump. When the billionaire tells you to run, you run. When the billionaire gives you the literal shit, you say yes, please, thank you.
Daddy, watch me twirl.
Daddy, watch me twirl. Daddy,
we hate billionaires.
I've had it.
But can I say something really quickly?
Go ahead, bro.
Dynasty overall underwhelmed for me. It always was going to. My one hope was the main event, because not for the match, I didn't care. But for the result I was hoping to get, because I thought, okay, this is what makes sense. This is what people want to fucking see. And to Lyric's point, people being like, oh, it's all part of the big plan. I don't give a shit. The plan is dog shit. The plan is awful. I don't care if this was always what you were going to do. It's not fucking good. And the difference between what you're trying to tell me is happening and what is actually happening is so grave, because you're saying, oh, he's a heel. People shouldn't hate watching your product. They should hate the guy. And that's not the situation that we're in right now. Literally, Lyric and I have a post-show to talk about Dynamite every single fucking week. Nobody gets to sit up here and say that we don't, A, watch the damn show, or 2, understand what the fuck is going on. We sit here and we talk about every fucking week. We're consistent and we want to watch what you've got going on. And what you've got going on right now is awful, to the point where you got fans like us like, man, I
literally turned off I don't know what happened in the last 30 minutes. I turned the TV off.
I didn't watch the main event. And I'll tell you what. I didn't watch the main event of Dynasty. I paid $50 to fucking see it. And I said, it's midnight. I got work in the morning. And I don't care if Swerve wins the belt, then we move, and we'll go on from there. We get Swerve Hangman and y'all in. But obviously that didn't fucking happen.
Can I talk about that really quickly? And I think for people to insult, I feel like our intelligence, particularly fans' intelligence, of just like, you just made that up and all this stuff. No, I'm going to be honest. I love the Hangman Swerve feud. It's my favorite feud ever. I'll be honest about that, right? I always love seeing those two together. But I wasn't thinking about them really for the main event of Y'all In until they started teasing it on TV. And they started teasing it. And they did start teasing it, and people were acting like, oh, no, they didn't. They didn't promise you that.
We didn't make it up.
They put that shit in his head. We did not make it up, bro.
You know what it feels like, though? They've done this before with us, though. They've done this before because they want to lead their audience. And that's the difference. It's not like a pleasant surprise. It's not like, oh, they didn't go this way. They went a different way. You're telling us one thing's going to happen and then it fucking doesn't. How many times while Kenny was still sick did they make it seem like today was the day that he was coming back and that, whatever? How many times in the past few years have they done a casino gauntlet and given us the implication that somebody's getting signed that doesn't fucking work there, and then it's some random ass nigga? Then they bring fucking Serpentico out here. They do this shit sometimes to try to get you to think one way, but this was clearly something that the audience wants, and you're not giving us. It's supply and demand, baby. What we have is an abundance of Death Riders, and the demand is not there, baby girl. It's not there.
And then y'all fucked around and got PAC injured. Are you crazy? Like,
I will kill myself. Sorry, I stop saying that.
It said this, like, my brain is broken. I can't even really get words out because I just can't believe that they led everybody on like this way.
I'm so devastated.
And they know. My thing is, they know that this is what people wanted. They know, and they are intentionally using all the things that are working, all the fan favorites, all the tropes that have traditionally pulled the people in. They are using that to supplement the fact that the main event program is ass. And I'm gonna be honest, I typically stick with certain stuff, but I can't do this shit, bro. Like, I'm not, the only thing redeemable that I feel like I must tune in for every week is the women's division at this point, because I do want to support them and I do think that they're doing incredible stuff. Mercedes versus Athena is next week. It's going to be amazing. But the rest of this shit, bro, I'm not having fun. I'll be honest. And like, you can be a heel and still be interesting. You can be a heel and be interesting. Ricochet is that person. Ricochet is a perfect example of somebody that is a heel, who isn't trying to be cool, who gets legitimate heat, who can still fucking wrestle, and he doesn't
Kyle
make
Fletcher.
turn the TV off. Kyle Fletcher too. Athena is a great example of somebody who beat bitches regularly.
Kids, it is possible.
And you don't expect people to, by the time Darby comes back, you're gonna make everybody hate him.
And that's the thing, like, you watched that first match. People weren't booing. People were apathetic. It was quiet. It was dead silent, or there were chants for Shibata. And it wasn't just because, you guys know, Shibata had his brain removed from his body. So this is the anniversary of that. So
what a beast.
A medical marvel. But you know, it wasn't just that. So I just, to me, that was the most, like, Chris Jericho on this show had more heat than Jon Moxley did.
Correct.
He did. And y'all know me, I fucking hate Chris Jericho. And I'm not sitting up here saying that shit was good. I'm saying that Tony Khan, that billionaire bitch, for all his saying that he listens to fan input and he whatever, that's what's most upsetting to me, is that now you do know that there's a disconnect. You do know that people are not fucking with this shit. And you do know, realistically, like, the easiest way for me to pit it against something is Jon Moxley, what Jon Moxley is doing as this is fourth world title reign, whatever. This is Toni Storm's third or fourth world title reign.
She's better than she's ever been.
Week to week, she's interesting. You want to see what she's going to say. You want to see what she's going to wrestle like. You want to see what's next for her. Point blank, period. You're in the exact same spot as the same amount of world title reigns. And the reality is, nobody fucking cares what you're going to have Jon Moxley do next. Whether it's talk, whether it's wrestle, him and his little fucking riddles. I told you bitches from the jump, was a bad idea. But now here we fucking are. And I keep sitting there being like, oh my God. Okay, if I was AEW, I keep trying to find them like an out. I'm like, how would I write my way out of this? How would I Hamilton this shit up? Hangman and Swerve was a way to write your way out of this. I was literally sitting there right there as
I said it was the perfect way.
It was the perfect way to write your way out of the predicament that you fucking put yourself in, because nobody knows how to use Google. And so now we're sitting up here and we're literally, that tweet, evergreen. I tweeted that nobody.
Charlie mentioned it on the stream we were on earlier today. She said Dani has the greatest tweet of all time when she said that all of this is because AEW didn't know how long it took to climb Mount Everest.
Because the more that they keep doing this shit, the more you're like, oh my God, they didn't look into it. And they just said, oh, it'll be fine. But they've been offered, now you've had several opportunities to get out of it, to write your way out of it. And you know that that's what your audience wants. And so for you to not do it, it's
political. It's political. It's political to the point to where, and I don't want to speak on it because I'm going to be honest, I don't know all the details. But whenever wrestling companies start doing stuff like this, it's political. And whatever you got going on in that locker room, you as a leader, you need to handle that shit, bro. Just at the end of the day, AEW is doing better than they were a couple months ago, but they still not in the clear of just like, oh my gosh, these ratings are through the roof and these houses are to the brim and we selling 15,000 tickets. There's still a very long way to go. There's still a very long way to go. And all of this little progress, it really can't shift. And like I said, at the end of the day, the real tea is the all-in ticket sales. Because guess what? If people were actually interested, they would have bought the tickets already. If people were interested in the Mox Derby in game, they would have already bought tickets.
But you know what? But you know what, though? Not even just that. Because the reality is, you don't even Derby.
I didn't hear none of that.
Darby would be in AEW's ideal scenario. There is still a scenario in which Darby can't even fucking do it, depending on how long this shit takes. So there's a full opportunity that it's just a fucking random match, like you said, that does not lead to a title change at all. So it's not even that we're guaranteed. It's not even that we're guaranteed to get it. You know,
they gonna bury the Billy Goat, man. They gonna bury the Billy Goat, and I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna make me crash out. Hey, man. Ooh,
I am all. First of all, y'all know me, Will Ospreay, my number one fan. Which I will talk about in a second. But Will Ospreay, my number one fan. Now, what I'm about to say, I'm gonna try to say in a very woke way. Jay White, I wish you all the best in the world. I never want anyone to experience physical harm. I don't want you to be hurt. Being hurt hurts. I hope you recover well, swiftly, painlessly, return to pro wrestling, the thing that you love. I didn't want to see that shit either. No tea, no shade, no disrespect. If that was your big plan for Will Ospreay, that's not good enough. And it's frustrating because you have a guy that your audience is...
Pause. Were they supposed to feud, or were they just supposed to have like that first round match?
I think that they were going to feud. I think that first round match was going to be a spark to a feud. Because even think about it. What else is Ospreay doing? What else was he even setting up?
No, nothing.
Not shit. You know? And you're way too talented for us to be sitting here wondering, well, where can he fit in? He not some random fucking guy on the roster. Damn. And it's extremely frustrating to me when you have one of the most talented rosters ever assembled. And first of all, you go back to somebody 4 times in a company that's 5 years old. And
when you didn't have to.
Stale. It's
when you
stale.
didn't
You don't have to. You have a guy in Will Ospreay. The audiences week to week act like this bitch walks on water, okay? And he's nowhere near any title scene. He's nowhere near a world title. He's nowhere near a tag title, the trios, the TNT belt. He's just coming out here and literally, I tweeted earlier, but like they put that bitch on a plane and they say we'll figure it out later. He's not one of them. And it's just frustrating to me because there's so many options. Like I said, Hangman, always a good option. If you were truly, truly in dire straits, Jon Moxley might be the ace of AEW. There is a founding father, Kenneth by God Omega, always still an option, who we'll get into a little bit. But like, it's just really frustrating because
it is.
Don't try to sit up here and make us feel or look stupid because
like nobody told you to do that.
You don't get the plan. You don't get the big master plan, bro. It's the same mentality motherfuckers talking about. Oh, but if you think about it, one day the tariffs could pay off. You dumb fuck. All the experts say no. The people say no.
They call it for a recession. Yeah, like I think also too. Like,
this is a recession indicator.
We've gotten to the point where it's almost sort of kind of like with the women's world title. There are so many people that are held up who can't move up because of this fucking plan. It's not working. And then I think a lot of people want to talk about YouTube views. The video of Mox Mox hitting the Death Rider on Willow hit 1 million YouTube views. No shit, Sherlock. Of course it did. Willow Nightingale is the only reason why any of the last build was even viewed at all. And guess what? A lot of people, unfortunately, the reason why they're watching the video is because it's male on woman violence. A lot of people live for that shit. And then 3 at that. All the former WWE talent, they get a whole bunch of YouTube views, and they get more YouTube views than just about anybody in the company. Do you want to know why? Because their so-called fans don't actually tune into Dynamite. They watch their clips on YouTube and say, I watched you. I supported you. We done with YouTube views. We done with that, okay? And you can't go ahead.
Oh, I was going to add. But to me, right, like I've always said a million times over, I don't care about the numbers. I don't give a fuck about the numbers. Me and Tony Khan are not splitting the profits. I'm not getting a cut about any of that shit. That doesn't make it good. Just because people are willing to consume it does not make it fucking good. And that's the reality. Like, niggas was tuned in to Team 10. Wasn't good. A lot of people watched Batman versus Superman. Wasn't good. Was not good. So just because it's been viewed by a lot of people does not inherently make something good. And the reality is, like, if those views aren't amounting to a higher gauge of interest in your product for your biggest show of the year, the click to conversion ratio, as we used to say when I worked socials, click to conversion ratio, babes. What is that? What is that?
I know some people want to. Here's the thing. I think that numbers do make sense in certain contexts, and this is a number for everybody. All-in ticket sales were stuck at 10,000 for about 3 months. Like, they were stuck at that number, which is basically everybody who bought tickets up front, like when tickets originally dropped. Those tickets only started moving once Swerve people started feeling like Swerve was legitimately going to win the world championship. And when they started teasing Hangman, it wasn't a coincidence that those commercials had them at the end with the world title. None of that was a coincidence. Like, none of that was a coincidence. And some people were like, well, MJF opened up the Texas Rangers game with the first pitch, and that moved over 1,000 tickets. If you genuinely believe that that's the only reason why tickets started moving, okay, whatever. And then you look at the Dynasty.
I would rather they put the belt back on the scarf.
Yes, at this point, yes, I would rather put the belt back on MJF. At least he's locked in again.
If we're not going to do anything, okay. I
think also too of just look at those. If you looked at the Dynasty ticket sales, they blew last year out the water. And why did they show up last year? Whose house? And why did they show up again this year? Whose house? The fans knew what they wanted to see. And I think it's just at this point to where AEW has earned whatever happens. Whatever house they get in Globe Life Field, they have earned that house. Genuinely. And I have one more thing to say. And by continuing to utilize the biggest people on the card to uplift this main event picture that's not working, it sucks. And I think that all the top guys, I know the SRS report came out earlier today that a lot of people on the roster are frustrated, and rightfully so, especially for Hangman. How many times
I can verify that via everybody is so lucky likes are private, because if I was one of them people,
girl,
if I was cornier, but yeah, Sean Ross Sapp, he ain't lying.
Because the people who know, and I know, like, a lot of times, I know sometimes people on Twitter are tired of bigger accounts. I get tired of some of the big accounts sometimes, okay?
I have everybody blocked. Yeah. And every single man is blocked. Every major wrestling outlet blocked. Everybody that talks too much or tweets more than 3 times a day, muted. I don't want to hear shit from anybody. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't even have that many people blocked. Well, I do have a lot of people blocked, but I see stuff. But I want you to know that a lot of when these big accounts are telling you that talent feels a certain way and that people feel a certain way on this thing, they're not lying, bro. All of us can probably look at our likes right now and find several people from all
Some of you
elite
motherfuckers got my notice on, baby.
I'm talking about
But I
several
digress.
people.
But I digress.
At least several people from all elite wrestling. Whenever we go on Death Bride or Slander, they locked in.
And hey. I bring it up to say we're not imagining it.
No.
It's not some
Everybody's aware.
I will say I do think a lot of wrestling fans are very, very dramatic. And so whenever anything's bad, it's the worst thing to ever happen. Whenever anything's good, this is the best thing to ever fucking happen. So most things in life are in between. Do I think that this title reign is hurting Jon Moxley's legacy more than it's helping it? Absolutely. Do I think that this makes Jon Moxley bad? Or, no. Shut the fuck up. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is, first of all, this title reign didn't make no goddamn sense in the first place because he only got the title shot because Darby thought Danielson wasn't going to wrestle. Then Danielson did fucking wrestle. Make no fucking sense in the first place. So I was an op from the beginning. I didn't want to see that shit. Everybody's like, trust the process. The reality is, though, when you realize who the coach is, you stop trusting the process.
Correct.
When you realize who's putting together the game plan, you stop trusting the process, brother.
And I think when you realize too, even when by the time Swerve got involved, you realize there is no process. They actually are throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks between now and whenever they get their end game being Darby. And that's the thing. Like, they are married to this concept. They don't care how they get there. They don't care. Like,
can I just say just quickly, like, separately, independent of that being wrestling booking, just like from a business standpoint, why would you ever be like, yes, and then our absolute sign it, seal it, deliver it plan A is that when this guy gets back from Mount Everest, he's gonna be in wrestling shape and he's gonna be ready to be our world champion. I'm not even somebody who's like, oh, from a business perspective, because usually I don't fucking care. I'm not a business girl.
This is true.
Like,
this is true.
How does that make a whole lot of sense? Yeah. Cope said that a few weeks back. And then did an interview and was like, oh, everybody's getting worked. It's all part of the plan. You don't know the plan.
He doesn't. And he was the world title challenger at the point.
You don't know the plan.
They don't know, bro. They don't know. And by the time that everybody does know, you will have sacrificed all of your top guys and literally knocked them down the ladder, and you're going to have to rebuild them all. And by then, it's still going to be too late. And it's just so frustrating. And I think specifically as a Hangman fan, the amount of times y'all call him when y'all need to break the glass, I'm sick of it. People can say whatever they want about Hangman fans. I try to give y'all grace, but enough is enough.
I don't try to give anyone grace. Why would I do that?
Like, Hangman has literally made several top guys. He got Jay White over. He got MJF back over. But he got
go ahead.
He made Swerve a top guy, right? Like their feud carried when MJF's title reign went to hell. Their feud carried the company, right? When all of these things are going left, their feud carried the company. At this point, how dare you, bro? Like, literally,
it's really disrespectful.
It's
You're
so
playing in his face.
Swerve the only person doing media. Like, let's just be real. Like, Swerve is the only person constantly out, like, doing like, these are the guys. Them and Ospreay, and I do have to include Ospreay. These are the guys, bro. They're doing the work. And you mean to tell me that everybody else doesn't have to do anything? But also at the same time, it's supposed to be, oh, we got to get ready for All In. We got to be paid. Got to be.
But also, Ospreay, we ain't got nothing for you.
Correct.
So why are you even sending that bitch out there?
I mean, the thing is, Will Ospreay is a very once in a lifetime type of top guy in the sense of, you can tell he's very much still in his happy to be there phase. The thing is, you just don't know when that ends. And when that ends, and here's the thing. I think the thing about Ospreay is you've given him enough leeway in the sense, not even leeway, but you set the stage last year that we would be circling back to Wembley in 2026. So everybody already has it in their minds that at minimum, Ospreay gets Wembley. Ospreay will get Wembley.
But that's in a year. And what's frustrating,
the thing is also he's let's just be real. That's the type of shit he likes. He'll wait.
Yes. But that's not my point. My point is that kind of to piggyback off your point earlier, it feels a little bit like, well, if he'll tolerate this, then maybe we can just wait a little bit more. I fear that he gets hangmaned. He becomes another.
That's fair.
He becomes another. We need you to do this for us.
Well, I'm gonna be honest.
For some
reason, never get hangman because he didn't beef with CM Punk
yet.
That's also a good point because Ospreay, I see why Ospreay and Swerve are really close friends now. They like to talk a lot. Like I see it, and I'm gonna be honest, they act like fans in the sense of like they're not gonna take this travelers or shit, lay it down, and I gotta respect it to a certain extent because
I got so many thoughts, and I will share them. I've held off, but first, let me say this. Oh God, here comes the Dani rants. Too. First of all, will Ospreay come on my fucking podcast? I meant to ask all nice, but I'm done asking nicely. This is a hostage situation. I'm kidding. But please, I mean, like, come on, this is ridiculous. I watched all of your matches. Please give me half an hour of your fucking time. I promise it will be the most well-researched interview of your life. Dear God. Because I'm almost done, guys. Believe it or not. I have watched over 300 William Charles Ospreay matches to tell him which one is actually his best because he doesn't know. I know. It's like this new semester. Only I can tell you what you are. But yeah, you like doing all that yapping? Pick up a microphone, come on Black Girl Wrestling Part 2. All right, guys. I'm about to get real into my woke bag and I'm gonna kill the vibe for a second. Booker T and Swerve Strickland. I'm gonna write an article about this because I want my thoughts to be coherent and I don't want to be misunderstood.
I recorded a podcast episode about it. Yeah.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
And without me? I'm kidding. But okay, so I'll give my thoughts briefly and then you guys can go listen to the Lyrics podcast about it. One blatantly incorrect message. 2 incorrect messengers.
Hey, let's
the reality is, well, you know what? I'll stay vague and I'll keep it quick. What it became,
correct,
was entirely unrecognizable to what it started out as, and I think that is a reflection of incorrect messengers not correctly either feeling or conveying the weight of the original argument.
Correct.
And that's frustrating to a nigga like me. One of my degrees is in Black Studies. This was my whole thesis, guys. And I think that how can I say this in the most let me be clear. I think if you are going to have a candid, honest, factually based conversation about something that has been an issue for so long and prevalent for so long, in particular within this industry,
Correct.
there needs to be, I don't want to say subject matter expertise, because I think that that's what you are by nature of being.
You need to keep the main thing the main thing.
You need to keep the main thing the main thing. And if you don't have anything, oh, that was mean. If you don't have anything that contributes to keeping the main thing, and or to a solution, I don't need to hear from you. Okay, so now without being vague, I don't know why the fuck Booker T said that. That was stupid. That was stupid.
Yeah, correct.
And inaccurate. And instead of, and I would compel someone like him to think back on his own career, because I do think a lot of times, now just generally speaking, not about him, I don't know these niggas, I do think a lot of times when you get to a certain position, it's hard to think back and to connect to a person that you used to be or situations that you used to be in. I do think that if someone like Booker T took the time to reflect on his own career and see at which some point race might have played a factor into what he did or did not get in an industry that is predetermined, that he would find those spots as well. And so not being able to recognize that pattern in your own career and then in the careers of others or in the industry as a greater whole, it's concerning to me. Do I think that Swerve, I understood some of where Swerve was coming from and his response? But like I said, I think 1 incorrect message and 2 incorrect messengers, because that's a whole nother thing. More generally, and we'll get back to a key in a second. But more
I think this is, out of all places, this is the proper place.
That's why I was like, if I was gonna do it, like, because I don't want to make a Black Girl Asking episode about this, guys.
This is the place to talk about it.
I hate doing heavy shit. I want to talk about cults and superheroes, but when people do stupid shit or when people are racist or whatever, like, I have to. I have to. So let me get it off my chest and then we'll all move on. It's troubling to me to watch a conversation that could have been so productive tumble into something that is now not that at all, and it never will be again. Because if there was ever going to be a moment to have a conversation about something like that, it was already brought up, and now people are going to be like, we already talked about this, we're not doing it again. I also think it's an inside the house thing. There are things.
Yes.
There are things that as Black people, and even as women, but mostly as Black people, this might be news to white people. There are plenty of people, places, and things that you will see Black people endorse loudly in public, stand firm behind, because they're Black or because they're receptive of Black people or all these different things. And then there is a different inside the house conversation that goes deeper and goes beyond the surface level, because the reality is that the way that Black people are still perceived by white people, there is a huge, obviously I'm generalizing, so oh my God, but like there can be an understanding gap. And so when Black people don't provide their full undivided support to one person, place, or thing, racists in particular love to weasel in and love to be like, wow, this is why. This is not for you. This is an inside the house conversation that we figure out as an us, as a, you know, and it's a metaphor, but it's also literally true. Like,
Yes,
think about your friends and family. How many times you've seen somebody get in an argument, or you've seen somebody, you know, your girl get in an argument, your guy get in an argument. You're like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And then you get back to the house and you say, now, why did you do that? What the fuck did you say that for in front of all of these fucking people? We don't know all them damn people, and you know how you're gonna be perceived. This to me was an inside the house conversation that now has gone fucking so far outside the house. We're on fucking worldwide news.
Yes.
If this was ever going to be a productive thing, it needed to be, I think all of these interviews should have been conducted by someone with,
are actually Black.
Oh yeah, but I was gonna say something even meaner. It should have been conducted with Black people, with an IQ in the 3 digits. The person conducting the interview needs to have the background knowledge in order to have.
And I think also the person who needs to conduct the conversation, and this is the shit that I talk about when I talk about like the media, in the sense of there's so much little infighting between Black wrestling and things like that, to where when these things happen, when these big interviews happen, guess what? Nobody Black is actually getting these opportunities to tell these stories, or, you know, be able to facilitate these type of conversations. And that's part of the problem. And that's why I feel like everybody's fighting for chump change. Like, everybody is literally fighting for crumbs and missing the bigger picture. The people who are actually really banking off of all of this wrestling content are people who aren't even in wrestling at all. That's just where the entire industry is moving. And like, we're in big influencer territory. And what I feel is that now more than ever, especially with everything with Triple H not seeing color, and with no Black men essentially being booked in WWE right now. And I would say also the really great stuff that's happening at AEW as far as Black talent. This is a time where a conversation should be happening, a broader conversation that focuses on how do we get the most Black talent to the top. It doesn't matter where they are, doesn't matter what they're doing. How do we uplift everybody to be able to benefit from the fruits of their own talent?
And
go ahead.
No, I was just going to add, and this has turned into a 1v1.
Yes. And it's ego.
But I fault everybody involved for allowing that to happen.
Absolutely.
Because if you were truly 10 toes down on what you were trying to say and what the greater conversation needed to be, then it wouldn't be a personal beef. That's not what it's supposed to be.
And I think also too, I'll say this specifically about Swerve. To truly grow into the mega star that I believe that he is going to be. And Swerve is already like a really big deal. I'm not even going to dispute that. Swerve is already a big deal. But for him to grow into the mega star that he truly is going to be, you can't take the bait.
You can't take the bait.
You can't take the bait. And I think especially when it relates to Black wrestling Twitter, Black wrestling community, guess what? A lot of them, it's actually
you already know that.
It's a small, and the thing is, in the grand scheme of things, it's a very small population of people who just really just can't stand Swerve or doesn't like Swerve. When you give those people air, that's when everybody starts looking around like, oh, what they talking about? And you are now on the defensive. Honestly, I think that Swerve should be at a point to where no matter how people feel about him, the work should speak for itself, in the sense of, look at that Dynasty card. Look at how many Black talent was actually featured on that card. Like, that is one of the major highlights of Dynasty. But instead, what is the major takeaway as it relates to race from Dynasty? You said fuck Booker T at the end of the show.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say, is that you can't take the bait you can. I think generally speaking, we as a society and as wrestling fans or in and around in this industry period, you can't be we need to stop being scared to talk about race.
Yes.
And in because I don't see color. You see where that gets us. No people of color anywhere near you. You know, that doesn't work. And in 2025, we're too educated of a society to be doing that shit. But if you're going to speak on things like that, it requires an incredibly high level of discipline to stick to what you are trying to say. I will just give a personal anecdote. One time, I was on Jamaican national radio. When I was in, yeah, it was odd. I was on Jamaican national radio when I was in college, and they didn't tell me anything before. I literally just logged on and we were live, and I was like, "Oh, hi." And they were like, "Do you think Black Studies matters?" And I was like, "Well, you know, yes." And I explained why I believed it. And then they brought out this professor, this white professor who taught like sociology at like one of these universities, whatever. And he starts trying to debate me about why Black Studies isn't an actual degree, why it's not this, that, and a third. And he, at one point, he says, you know, well, what do you think you're going to do with a degree in Black Studies? And I'm a smart ass, if you guys didn't know. So there's plenty of time, plenty of things I could have said, should have said, because the reality is, like, what do I think I'm going to do with a degree in Black Studies? Well, you didn't call a fucking art major on here, did you? Ain't no engineers on here, huh? It's me, bitch ass nigga. But you can't say that, because that's what makes the headlines.
Correct.
That's what makes the clickbait. When I was gonna dox myself in accident.
Well, let's not do that. But I can't say from like even like a wrestling perspective. I would say there is these stereotypes and these I would say these walls that exist when you are Black in this space and you are taking an alternative path. And I have experienced that as a creator. Like, I've had people say like, oh, well, because you don't do WWE stuff, it doesn't matter. Or All In doesn't matter. Nothing matters until you do a Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. Or if you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Like, I've heard all of those things. And it does get to you after a while, because you're looking like, what, man, like, this is crazy. Do you not see all these? Do you not see the amazing things I'm doing and then being rejected by sometimes your own people? You have to have the self-confidence to be able and to believe in what you do. If you believe in what you say, if you say that your work and what you're doing is on par with what they're doing over there at WrestleMania, whatever they're doing over here, if you believe that your work is on that par, you have to walk in that. Like, you have to genuinely come through your words, it has to come through your actions. Because Swerve, you are now at this point where Booker T has basically said he don't want to be a role model for none of these niggas. Okay, like he said, they not as good as him. They never will be. That's fine. But Swerve is in a position to where you got a full locker room that's looking at you, full of Black men, and they see you as the bar. They see you as the tippy the top. You can't take the bait, bro. And also, I think Booker T, I think specifically for Black wrestling fans, you know, it's time to have some really difficult conversations. The fact, because I don't see how you accept somebody flat out saying that there are no Black wrestlers good enough and WWE is right for not pushing them. I don't even watch WWE and I know that's not true. It's just not true. It's not something that we should normalize. It's not something that we should regurgitate as fact. And it's honestly very disappointing. It is very disappointing. I hate that we had to have this conversation in front of white people. I think I hate that more than anything, especially in front of Twitter accounts and fan wars and all sorts of stuff. I think that it's just inappropriate, and like, you really hate that it got this far. And you got DJ Vlad getting clicks off, like, enough. But it is a really important conversation that needs to be had, and Black talent will continue to suffer as long as there's a whole bunch of me. There's no I in team. And at the end of the day, all Black people in wrestling are interlinked. We haven't arrived to the point to where, oh yeah, everybody is just so far and away, just so good and so strong, and nobody race doesn't affect any major decisions or stuff like that. We haven't arrived. It's not true.
See us all the same way. Whether you know what, and this is just generally speaking, your proximity to affluence, to whiteness, at the end of the day, the way that you are viewed is still in a grouping with other Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get that twisted. Sometimes they can make you feel like you one of them, and you chilling with them, and you whatever. But when it comes down to it, I promise you, they do see color.
Absolutely. And Booker T, I think of somebody, I started watching wrestling during the King Booker era. The type of stuff they was making him to do, like, come on, man. Like, you were a caricature for a long part of your career. And that's just a fact.
And you know that. You know that. And whether you want to associate that, and sometimes it can be hard, like I said, to relate to to know the truth and to feel the truth. Those two things can be hard to do at the same time. I think that you know that that's the reality of the position that you were in for a lot of your career, but it's still yours, and it's still, you know, that may not be how you want to feel about it or reflect on it, but if we don't do that, then we fall into cycles where someone else gets that treatment.
Absolutely. It's
and
like
that's what you're allowing, advocating for, setting aside and dismissing.
I think, and also too, Swerve is kind of like the Swerve model, not even Swerve himself, the Swerve archetype of wrestler is, especially for Black men, is completely brand new in the sense of somebody who was allowed to make mistakes, somebody that was allowed to grow into the role, somebody who was, because let's just be real, there for a long time, to be Black and be successful and get, you essentially had to go through humiliation rituals.
Yeah, and you had one shot.
Yes, one. And like being able, like Swerve couldn't talk. They said, cool, we'll give him a manager. We'll give him a faction. That one didn't work. Cool, we'll give him another one. We'll put him with Nana. Of genuinely being invested in. Shelton Benjamin comes to mind, right? Think about him versus the Batista and the Cena and the Lesnar. The Swerve archetype for Black men specifically is brand new. And I think it's hard sometimes to reckon with that for like the older folks.
You wish that was you, huh?
You said what?
You wish that was you, huh?
I mean, yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. And but also at the same time, we have the whole culture is so fucked up in the sense of we have made all of the things okay because WWE will come around when you're 50 or 60, put you in the Hall of Fame, and they'll tell you that, oh, you did good work. And people feel like, oh, I got the stamp of approval and stuff. People still bear those scars. You know, whether you want to talk about it or not, whether you want to admit it or not on the podcast, everybody got an agenda. But every Black person, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter who you are. If you've ever been in a room and you've ever gotten that look, or you've ever gotten that those words spoken to you either in your face or behind your back, the treatment, you'll never forget it. You will never forget it, especially as somebody, and I'm sure you can agree with this too, especially as Black leaders who went to a PWI, you know the look, you know the words, you know, you and those moments will stick with us for the rest of our lives of how we were treated. You might not speak on it every day. You might not acknowledge it, but you know what?
The difference for me, baby, I have an enemies list. I know who has wronged me, and I I will not die until each and every one of them have felt my pain tenfold. I can't. I won't. Also, this is a little bit. I'm moving on now. Is that okay? Yeah, I tweeted something the other day that I realized, like, I was like, the tweet is a joke, but like I wasn't kidding. I tweeted, you know, like, oh, I got an ex that's trying to make moves in the pro wrestling space. You know,
Yeah, can we talk about that? Yeah.
We sure enough fucking
This
can.
was right, Chloe, by the way. This was correct. This was correct. Swerve will stumble for the first 2 minutes and they still say, whose house? Swerve's house? Yay!
Swerve's motherfucking house, nigga. But yes, guys. So I had an ex.
Is this the one that you watched Golden Lovers with?
Yes. I was gonna say he's come up before on here.
He took your whole flow, word for word, bar for bar. Oh my God! Continue. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's true. Yeah, he's trying to make moves in the pro wrestling space, and dear God, I want to at him so bad because I just know that if it has to eat you up inside that I'm not even trying, and I'm like, it's literally, I tweet every 3 seconds. And baby, you will never have what I have. You have no wit, you have no whimsy, you have no soul, bitch ass nigga. And I hope you and that young lady live happily ever after in your pit of misery, and you'll be haunted by the memory of me every day of your fucking life, because you know that you'll never ever amount to what I am going to do. My ceiling and your ceiling are not the same. Your ceiling's the basement, you dirty bitch. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna as subtly as possible tell you who it is without doxing myself or him, because that's not cool.
Hey, can you send me the private chat?
Yeah.
I need to know who I can blacklist.
Yeah. It's not a crime. I looked into it, but like it could get.
No, I don't believe in doxing, but I do believe in silent blacklisting.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So yeah. Anyway,
I just also want you to understand that, yeah, you really do have a real platform. You do real big business. You have real motion. And I can attest, Dani's barely trying. Aside from like the Ospreay stuff, bro, like she really do just pick this shit up off the dome. She'll wake up and be like, hit tweet. The hoes gonna love
that. Was so crazy.
Like, you know, they gonna love this. I didn't see her. She just be. That's real motion, though. Real motion is when you don't have to think too hard. You don't gotta plan it out. The hoes gonna love it. You know, they got real motion.
I appreciate that. I don't need an ego stroke. I really hate this nigga.
You're gonna get it anyway.
I was lurking the other day. I was like, no fucking way. And he was in the replies for some people that I like, follow, and appreciate. You're one of them. And I was like, oh,
wait. He's in my replies?
We gotta take him outside and handle him old Yeller style.
Did I respond to him?
No, you didn't respond to him.
Oh, okay.
I would have called you. I would have called you, Lyric. And I would have been like,
wake up. Hey, listen, close the doors. Close them doors.
Close the doors. Close the doors. You know what? Also, that brings me to my next point. I just want to do some Kenny Omega glazing really quick.
Amazing. He looked amazing tonight.
This was the only thing that I wanted to actually talk about tonight, besides the fact that Toni Storm is hilarious. And she's gotten better.
I only want to talk about the women. From actual Dynamite, I actually only want to talk about the women.
Okay. So
Megan
let me do my Kenny real quick.
Yeah,
Kenny Omega. Guys, I have something to confess. I went to watch the pay-per-view and I fell asleep before the three-way. And when I woke up in the morning, it had expired. I still have yet to see it.
It was amazing.
The rabbit do not got the gun. But baby, one thing about me, I'ma find it. shout out to Will Ospreay, because now my computer has every virus already, so I might as well just test the limits, you know. I know a VPN hate to see me coming, but I'm gonna watch it, but I haven't yet. But Kenny Omega came out here.
You just want my login? I was gonna say, do you just want my login? I already bought it.
But Kenny Omega came out tonight, and you can say a lot about what happened at the beginning of the show, and I will say, like, the Bucks' involvement at Dynasty, I'm glad to see the Bucks back. I'm always glad to see the Bucks back. Hey, Swerve's not in the tag team. I don't really understand how that would be, you know, order of business number one. Unless, of course, you're trying to soften him up for Okada, who's still in the Elite, but that didn't make any sense. So my whole point is just like, I see where we're going. It doesn't make any sense. I don't fucking like it. But that aside, Kenny Omega comes out here, and everybody was talking shit about his promo tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed it because I really did. He said, this motherfucker sit up here in his cuck chair. I said, oh.
Bro, I will say, nah, Kenny talks like one of the girls, and it just slips out. It slips out of just like, it's not good for TV just because only us, only AO3 and Tumblr conversations. Yes, only AO3 and Tumblr enjoyers will have gotten the Kenny promo. And as we've learned, this company unfortunately is not booked for us. So,
but I have a plan. Tony Khan. Oh, I was gonna say something crazy. I feel like that was gonna be a threat on accident.
Yeah, let's not do that. But
I was an accident. No, you know what I said the other day though? I was cooking and I had somebody try it and they're like, oh, it's really good. And I was like, yeah, Gordon Ramsay can't live forever. I was like, wait, that makes it sound like I just, in the sense that and he just looked at me and was like, why did you say that? I don't know. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Gordon Ramsay is a nice guy.
I also want to say, Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita, you looked amazing tonight.
Can I say something controversial?
Go ahead.
This was the first night of my life where I noticed Kinosuke Takeshita second. Now this does not change a thing between us, baby. This don't change nothing between us. But what I will say is that screen came on. I said, Kyle Fletcher, God damn.
He was also, to be fair, he was literally glazed in baby.
Up. He was oiled
like
up.
He was glazed in it.
Like I'm gonna say, I was gonna say some TMI, but I mean, I guess this whole show is kind of TMI. Yeah. You ever just fight it?
I almost lost my crown.
You know what? Okay, I was thinking the other day, I was like, you know what? One of my favorite feelings in the world is flirting with like a tall, muscular guy with charm. When you flirt with someone who's like charming, it's like and a girl like me, that doesn't happen often because I talk to niggas like this. And I tell them loser. But most of them like it. Anyway, I had a thought tonight looking at Kyle Fletcher. I've never even looked at him this way. He's like someone I pick apples with in my papa's orchard. And I was like, I want to bite your bicep. And then I was like, why would I think that? That's odd.
No, Kyle Fletcher is this is how I know he's truly a child of the elite. He is truly a child of that generation. He understands his audience. He knows his audience is the Tumblr, the AO3 girls. He directly corresponds with he gets it. When I saw
talking about Takeshita's cock,
when I saw that pink t-shirt, I said, if you've been listening to the show, this is so Dani coded.
I was like, hold on, guys.
He's going to bring
Hold
the
on,
pastel.
guys.
He will bring the pastel crop tops.
I fully believe it. And you know what? I want to say, when that happens, when we get our first real crop top or real pastel crop top, I will feel so vindicated and robbed.
It's so funny because Kyle Fletcher, he really does take input from people. Like he was the one. I know, like AO and them, they had been saying say his full name. He said, "Yeah, say my full name."
And now it's his whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? That's why I'm like, Kyle Fletcher. You do lurk and listen. I am sorry that I told people you got a BBL. I was like,
you know what's so funny about that? You told people he had a BBL and he went and fully embraced BBL culture. Like I now believe that he shops at Fashion Nova.
Hey.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I think
for it.
More people need to embrace their inner bad bitch. I don't know.
And Kyle Fletcher is one of few people. I'm like, no, you, like you said, you know what you're doing. I find him so incredibly endearing because I'm like, yeah, this is how you should be acting. Like, I really, really appreciate when men are like in love with other men. Yeah.
And with themselves, in the sense of not in a incel way.
Talk about the pro tussy.
Yeah, he calls his fan base Fletchlights. Like, he doesn't take himself too seriously. This is why we need more Gen Z guys.
You got
like
grown men walking around being like, "Oh, Fletchlights unite." Is that what you are? Okay,
this is Gen Z, y'all. I'm excited for shout out to Konosuke Takeshita. We'll be in Chicago on Friday facing Tanahashi and Windy City Riot.
I can off Takeshita. I don't have a ticket, but I can be in Chicago on Friday if you need me for whatever reason.
Yes.
But yes, I wanted to say really quickly on Kenny Omega before we go back to the women's division. I promise I'm almost done talking about Kenny Omega. I just love Kenny Omega so much. I don't know if that's come up before, guys.
It'll never be enough.
It will never be enough. That I was gonna say, look, Mercedes Athena moves me for y'all in. I don't know how much because I don't know. I know we're obviously gonna do it at least once. And I'm thinking that this will be the third match, which, okay. I don't know. But to me, I'm still trying to picture it. And I'm like, well, we're going to be fresh off 1 and 2. So is that a motivating factor to buy a ticket? Yes. Is it press the button, buy the ticket today? I need to see what everything else looks like. If you're going to do Omega Okada, is that enough for me to spend almost a band?
I agree.
To be in Dallas like in the middle of July. I could be on a beach somewhere. I could be, I'm taking PTO for this shit, brother. Like, and that's really what the question for y'all in boils down to for me. It's like, okay, is Kenny Omega enough? And a million times in my life, I have said, absolutely anything for Kenny Omega. I'm looking at this y'all in card or what's shaping up to be the y'all in card, and I'm like,
I think it's true, and I think honestly it's been heartbreaking because I was originally excited for All In because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to see my friends and it's going to be so cool. Yeah, especially after Dynasty, the friends are dropping out. Like several of the girls that I knew like were coming, they're like, no, actually I'm not booking the flight if I think Mox is going to retain, so no, I won't be in attendance. And like that's really how niggas feel, man. That's really how people feel. Is this really enough?
And I was literally, I had the flights pulled up, I had the hotel picked, I had what ticket I wanted, and I was like, let me watch Dynasty and see what Dynasty talking about. Hello? I was gonna say, let me see what Dynasty talking about real quick. Until I hear the words "I'm all in" from Kenny Omega, I myself cannot be all in.
Hey, I need you to keep talking. I'm going to go get my delivery.
Oh, okay. I love talking. Don't worry about
I'm
me.
going to get my delivery order.
Filibustering. Anyway, guys.
Okay, Corey.
Hey, I love a captive audience. Yeah. So I'm not sure if I can do it. Like, honestly, because when you think about it like that, though, like, I would be traveling out of state. So I'm taking a flight, I'm booking a hotel, I'm buying a ticket, I'm spending 3 or 4 days in Dallas, which, like, no tea, no shade to Dallas, Texas, but like I said, I could be on a beach somewhere. I could go to Miami. I could go to literally anywhere in the fucking world. Is it worth all of that to go see John Moxley potentially wrestle Darby Allin again? I just don't know. Now, I will say that Kenny being sick for a year, I parasocial relationships are actually fucking insane, guys, because it affected me. I watched Dynamite for a year just mad because I was like, oh my god, Kenny Omega's not gonna be here. Kenny Omega's not gonna be here. Every pay-per-view, I'm like, fucking Kenny Omega's not gonna be here. So him being sick and out for a year does put things more into perspective for me, because I'm like, damn, like, there's not a whole lot of time left to go see my goat, the best wrestler to ever lace up a pair of boots, argue with your fucking mama. I don't know, guys. I'm like, literally, if they weren't doing that match, and honestly, at this point, the way the AEW is moving, they might just fucking be like, well, we never told you it was gonna be Omega Okada. Fucking, here's Omega versus, I don't want to say somebody and just like be mean, but like, you know, they're at this rate, they're literally just gonna be like, we never told you it was gonna be Omega Okada. You made that up.
Bro, I'll crash out so bad. Also, my order isn't here, so like I'm gonna have to jump out again. I'm so pissed that I just walked outside, but whatever.
That's okay. But yeah, no, that's where we're going. That's essentially what they're telling us. It's the same thing with Swerve. They're gonna say, hey, you know what? We know we told you this was exactly what was gonna happen, but fuck you. We fucking hate you guys.
I can't believe they did that with Hangman and Swerve, bro. I think that's why I've been so hard. How dare you? I had it all planned out. I think it was one of those rare feuds that I really I was just so, when they started teasing it, it felt like a gift from above. I said, is this finally our time? Like, this is finally our time, especially because here's the thing. Guys, Swerve versus Danielson is one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. But when you see what that match did for the entire year after, I don't give a fuck who says what. Hangman should have won the Owen last year. He should have won it. And if he loses it twice, it reignited my passion for wrestling too, Jalen. Thank you. At least for American wrestling, and honestly, wrestling in general. Because you sucked last year. Not gonna hold you.
Ugh. Yes, it fucking did. Sorry, not to pile on, but anyway.
Damn.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, but it was we brother. If you had nude stocks, you had to hold.
Man,
but my last thing was somebody said, I think Ospreay loses to Mox at All In. If that happens,
I think so too.
That will be my 13th reason.
If Ospreay wins the Owen, I genuinely don't see him defeating Mox. I genuinely don't see it.
Because, like I said, how many outs can AEW possibly have? Right now, the only thing that you can do besides giving Swerve and Hangman, besides going that route, the only thing that you can do to minimize the damage is say, fuck it, put the belt on the most over guy or that isn't involved in that feud. I put the belt on Ospreay, it'll be fine. We'll figure it out from then. That's damage limitation. If you don't fucking do that, if you thought I was crashing out bad about Swerve losing, if we go back to back.
And I think also too is because you've run it to the point to where I think Ospreay is obviously a super big star, like a big, huge star in AEW. But I don't think that he's Teflon to an extent. Like, keeping for him to be up so high and to have him crash down like that, I'm not sure how he recovers from that in the short term, bro. Like, in the sense of people, Ospreay already has a sizable amount of haters. I do think that the people who love him does outweigh it. But bro,
I disagree.
Everybody went out of that Mox thing with some stank on them. They do.
I don't think so. I think that he would be fine, but that's not my point. I actually think he could go and he can lose to Mox. He could. I think he's one of
BRB. I think it's finally here. But BRB.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So she can't argue with me. I think that he's one of those people. He could go and he could get pinned by Mox in 30 seconds and then come back out on Wednesday and cut a 5-minute promo that we can only understand 4 of the words in, and he's back. Because when you ring the bell, that's the difference maker. When you ring the fucking bell. And there's not a whole lot else that needs to be said. So Ospreay would be fine. That, however, is absolutely fucking ridiculous of something to say. Jon Moxley, you know, the problem is with the Death Riders too, like, you're not giving final boss. You just keep beating people. You know, you don't seem like this unstoppable, immovable object or force or whatever. Like, you're just there and you won't leave. That's different from being like invincible. And y'all gonna hate me for what I'm about to fucking say. Y'all gonna tear me up. World Wrestling Entertainment has a guy. He actually used to be in a similar group. I don't know if you guys heard of the Shield. Roman Reigns.
Today has drained me.
Roman Reigns gives final boss. Always has. He's the one. He's the one. Jon Moxley doesn't have that in this title reign. He just won't lose. That's different. Roman in the first, before it got ridiculous and before we were going on an Olympics worth of him being world champion, you know, it just seemed like, damn, nobody deserves to beat him. Nobody can, you know, nobody is as compelling as him right now. Nobody is. And that's a whole different thing about wrestling abilities. But just, you know, aura-wise, hate to say it.
Big Rome, man.
Big Rome. Like, niggas was tuning in. They were tuning in to see him. You were the final boss.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. And I even at a point to where I still was kind of like, on WWE. Like, I stopped watching TV, the TVs after Elimination Chamber. But what? I'm not gonna hold you. I'm still locked into the pay-per-views, y'all. Listen, Big Rome, nigga. Man, Roman Reigns might be the only person that I gotta watch. Like, if they like that, his sports entertainment be so.
If them motherfuckers sit up there and they say Roman Reigns will be on SmackDown, I said, well, I mean, I want to see what he's gonna do.
I was watching SmackDown, bro. And the thing is, I can't tell you anything else. I can't tell you anything else that was happening on SmackDown during that time.
No, I didn't care.
But like when Roman and Sammy was in, Roman and Sammy, it was appointment viewing, bro.
I was watching that shit. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie to you, motherfuckers. But my point being, like, we're not gonna sit up here and act like that's what's happening with the Death Riders. You don't kill people. You don't even hurt them. I don't believe you. I don't believe you one little bit. I don't believe Wheeler Yuta is to be feared. I don't believe that PAC should have always been the leader of this group, and his injury is actually like
how many Dynamites and pay-per-views ended with Mox running away?
With Marina Shafir and that fuck-ass briefcase.
And also, too, Marina, I'm going to be honest. We're going to call you to the carpet, girl.
No, we're going to send you home.
Yeah, because what was that?
What was that? I try to be, for as mean as I am,
We're really nice to women.
I understand that everybody's doing their best. So I don't like to pile on to people when people are already getting dragged, unless of course it's Chris Jericho, which I feel like is different. But Rita Shafir, you was doing Willow so crazy. Willow,
Before even like the Death Rider stuff, like it was hard to watch.
and you know what? I will say, like a lot of people were like, "Oh, you're not watching enough ROH," which is probably fair. I watch ROH and I say, "Athena, what are you doing?" And that was all I cared about. So a sizable amount of people saying, you're not watching enough ROH. She's getting better. She's getting better. She's getting better. When? Because.
And I think also too, AEW should never ever again. They shouldn't have done it the first time, honestly, but they should never ever again put a talent like Willow Nightingale in a position to where Maria is her equal. Like, no, that's not her equal. It's not her equal. Like, not at all. And also, I think that, and I know people are like, they wrote it off and said that she had a history of neck injuries. I'm sorry. This is Willow Nightingale. I genuinely believe that she can save the world. You mean to tell me that one Death Rider put her on the shelf, but Marina Shafir got a house call and walked away fine?
And especially, I think, period. But especially in watching that match. Like, Willow looked like an absolute fucking superstar.
She was a superstar
like
of the match.
A certified stud, which she is. So for then you to be like, oh my God, she just couldn't handle it. The neck issues. Be so fucking for real. She was doing Moxley crazy. She should be the real world champion.
She was doing crazy. Her and Swerve were actually doing tag maneuvers. Like, bro,
it was going crazy. And then
it was going, and it makes me sad because
it was out there playing and then people's tag match.
But it makes me also, I want to see mixed tags. I would like to see more mixed tags with like really beast wrestlers, right? Like, give me like Mercedes and Okada versus Kenny Omega and like a real hooper. I don't even know who it'd be, but like, give me like something
that.
Oh, yes, Kenny Omega. And that's a really great segue. Kris Statlander. I believe in you so much. Like, I think
too, girl.
You are the greatest. Like, you are one of the best bases in wrestling. Gender be damned. One of the most. And I give Stat above just about anybody. And I think that Kris Statlander does this better than maybe anybody else who's wrestling on TV week to week. Women, she's more consistent than just about anybody. Kris Statlander's consistency rate, it doesn't matter who she's wrestling. It's gonna be a 3.5 minimum. 3.5 floor.
And she couldn't call it in if she wanted to. Every time she step in that ring, bruh.
She's just like Takeshita in a lot of ways. Like, I think like one of those athletic freaks, one of those people who just took to wrestling like water. She's my pick for the Owen. Listen, there's a lot of different things. There's a lot of different opinions. I know a lot of people want Jamie to win, and I want Jamie and Tony to have their feud. And I want Jamie to win the battle back. But Kris Statlander has been waiting for a very long time for that belt. And I think that it is very important for the first woman to have held the TBS and world title to be a homegrown talent. Out of all of the women who were on that original 19 roster for AEW, Kris Statlander is the success story. Like, she is out of, when you think about the staying power that she has had compared to everybody who came up during that time. Think about who are really the last girls left. Stat and Penelope Ford. Those are the last two real girls left. And they are killing it right now. Penelope Ford is clearly a role player, obviously. But Kris Statlander, she's a main event level talent. And I think it's time to strap her up, man. It's her time. It's her time. Kris Statlander, good God. And I will say Thunder Rosa put her working boots on tonight. Respect. I actually really did like her outfit. I like the chaps. Like I really did enjoy the blue chaps. Somebody said that Stats gear was inspired by Blades of Glory. She always gets like does, you know, a lot of Will Ferrell types inspirations and stuff. But Kris Statlander, you mean so much to me. I just hope that you know that. And speaking of a woman that means so much to me, Megan Bayne. Wow. Oh my God. Wow. Amazing. 10 out of 10. Thank you for showing up today. I
certified stallion.
AEW has several. Like, where did I will say that's why I get so frustrated with the booking of the women is because AEW I feel like is the best at recruiting women. Of recruiting, like saying, like, I want this hand-picked roster, right? I want just a fleet of powerhouses. They got to be big, strong, tough girls with muscles. I want the baddest heifers on the floor. We need a couple goats. They're going to be short, but they going to be the best wrestlers you ever seen. We got Mercedes and Athena over here. We got we got a little bit of everything, but they're going to get one match a show. Huh? It feels like you're hoarding. You're hoarding talent. Like you're literally hoarding at this point. This is a crazy fleet, man. It's a crazy fleet. I'm excited for the Owen. Obviously, we have Athena versus Harley Cameron this weekend, as well as Jamie Hayter versus Billy Starks. Obviously, the semifinals will likely be Kris Statlander versus Jamie Hayter and Mercedes versus Athena. And Jalen, you made a point earlier in here talking. You said that All In might end up being Mercedes and Athena's second match, and I agree. I do agree that instead of third, just because Double or Nothing, the Owen final is going to be a Double or Nothing. And so,
oh, good point.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Mercedes is probably going to be in the Owen final. And now here's the thing. I do not think that Mercedes should win the Owen. I don't think that it's good for the division. I genuinely don't. And I'm going to be honest. If you want to run Mercedes versus Tony, if that is supposedly the biggest match that the women division can possibly do, it should happen on a pay-per-view where they're actually going to main event. And they're not going to main event. With the way this Death Rider stuff going, they not bending for the men. So they damn sure not going to bend for the women. And that's just the truth. Mercedes, and I think also, too, when they eventually... What?
Sorry. I just had a thought. Omega Okada being the semi-main to whatever the fuck they got Jon Moxley doing. And it's just...
I mean, disgusting, bro. Disgusting.
Sorry, go ahead. You were speaking.
I just think that when Mercedes versus Tony finally happens, if that is supposed to be the first women's main event, make sure that the division is in a place that it won't be the last women's main event. I don't want Mercedes versus Tony to happen and to be the token to be like, oh, guess what? This is the only women's main event of a pay-per-view we're ever going to have, etc. Other women and the division need to be elevated to the point to where they can main event pay-per-views. In perfect world, I'm going to be honest. This is how I fantasy booked it. I think Stat should win the Owen. She should go on to All In and win the world title. I think that at All In, to get more women on the show, they should do a women's casino gauntlet. Now, they shouldn't do that contract shit like Christian did, because absolutely not. But what they should do is that the winner gets a world title match at All Out. You run back Willow versus Stat from last year. But it's
I
for the world.
120% forgot All Out existed until you said that.
Yes, it's just out of order this year. So, like, now it's All In, Forbidden Door, then All Out.
Yeah, that fucked me up.
But it's going to be
in June?
Yeah, so it's going to be such a no. Like All In is in July. Forbidden Door is going to be in August, and then All Out is going to be in September. But that turnaround time from Forbidden Door to All Out is going to be essentially like what the turnaround time from All In to All Out used to be, and
Like
so it's so quick. So like if you can go ahead and set up what the women's world title match is going to be at All In, you should do that. Of like Willow, like I don't. Mercedes and Tony are huge, huge stars. But I think we are dangerously approaching a point, if it doesn't change soon, that they are the last big mega stars in the division, and it shouldn't be that way. There are several women who need to be elevated to their level. Athena's one of them. Athena's one of them. Willow Nightingale is one of them, and Kris Statlander is one of them. Megan Bayne is one of them. Mariah, I think, has a lot to prove when she gets back. Of can she stand on her own? But in theory,
but I have faith. I think
she should. Yeah, she should be one of those people. And I think Mina Shirakawa needs to go straight to the top.
I disagree with that.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Explain.
I really like Mina. I don't think that AEW should. I think you run the risk of what it felt like at times with Tony and Mariah, which is existing in a silo, because you shot Mariah straight up to be with Tony. And then Mariah's world title reign was largely about creating new issues with girls that she hadn't even interacted with, which is not necessarily a problem. I think it becomes a problem when you start doing it again and again. I think that Mina, I think that eventually she deserves to be on that top level with those other girls? Yes. Do I think that those other girls have been waiting on it in AEW for so long? Yes. Has Mina been waiting on it, period? Yes, absolutely.
Yes, that is fair.
But here, I don't know. It just, I feel weird about, I don't know. I just think about girls like Stat and girls like Willow, and I'm like,
I don't think, okay, so when I say that, I don't think that Mina should be to the top, go straight to the top in the sense of going straight to the world title picture. I think that she should be those people that the TBS picture is built around in a post-Mercedes universe.
Agreed.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah.
We can live there.
Yeah.
Look at us compromising.
Go team. But yeah, we're getting to the point to where, like, don't get me, y'all, I love Mercedes and I love Tony, and like I want to see the match and I'm so excited. But there's no use in, and I think it goes to another thing. It goes back to this Death Rider shit, right?
Oh God.
Knowing how big of a match that Tony and Mercedes is.
Sorry.
What are you doing? If you run it now, knowing that you're not going to let them main event, it goes back to the Hangman Swerve thing of, that you have hotter programs, you have things that people want to see more, and you're using them to get people to buy tickets and still feeding people this shitty main event. Boo! Tomato, tomato, tomato. I think honestly, and I said this on Twitter, but if Ospreay, and I hate it for him because he's probably gonna lose, but if Ospreay ends up main eventing All In this year, you don't get 2 in a row. I'm sorry. Give that to Mercedes and Tony. Give Wembley to Mercedes and Tony next year. Oop.
I'm never gonna sit up here and advocate on behalf of a white man instead of a black woman. So I agree with you.
And it's one of those things, Billy Goat, because I want Will Ospreay to main event in his home country and be a champion. I genuinely do. But unfortunately, because we are at the whims of this super terrible booking, no takes these back.
It's not your fault, Will. We're not coming for you.
But you just don't get 2 in a row.
You don't get 2 in a row.
You don't get 2 in a row. You just don't get 2 in a row. Like, I'm going to be honest, if Swerve and Hangman can't have it, then that was the only way it was going to be appropriate to get 2 in a row. Otherwise, no. The answer is no. Wrong.
Wrong.
If Kenny
Wrong
Omega
answer,
can't
folks.
make a stadium,
Do you think? Well, I'll hold that for another time because that could be a whole tangent. But
you gonna say, do you think that Okada Omega could main event?
no, but
Oh.
that's a good thing to ask. No, I was just wondering when you run Okada Ospreay again.
Probably in this Continental Classic again.
But
I'm interested. When do you run Ospreay Omega again?
But see, to me, you know what? I will get off my Kenny Omega high horse, but because I think that Kenny Omega certified all reliable, you know, we could break that glass in case of emergency any point. Okada likes Ospreay, so you'll get the best of him.
He does.
You know,
he does.
He fuck with him the long way, so we'll get a good match. He'll clock in. But it's just frustrating because we're thinking about these matches, these generational matches, these fucking bangers of matches, and then we gotta go watch.
We talking about practice, not the game.
Not the game.
Practice. You talking about practice. I think, and also this is one thing I'm actually pissed about from today. The fact that we wasted, and I truly feel like it was a waste. We wasted the first face-to-face between Swerve and Kenny. That is, I think, arguably the biggest match, the biggest first-time match that AEW can run. And what are we doing?
Hey, wait. I just want to say, before you say that, Dan, watch yourself. Saying the love for Omega is gone will get you blocked.
I will say, though, I love Kenny Omega more than any other man, but I still do love women more.
Okay.
I was talking when it comes to like the main event of like, yeah, like I do stand Ospreay versus Omega in the main event of Wembley Stadium sounds great. But if Tony Khan decides that Mox versus Ospreay will main event all in Texas and Billy gonna lay on his back, unfortunately, you do not get to it wrong.
See, okay, there, I don't know. I think I don't see a world in which Omega Ospreay if it happens, does not main event Wembley. But I think if that's the case, then you should start with that and work backwards. So you're not in a situation where you're having, 2 back-to-back all in. But to me, that is like, I don't see any other matches on the card that can not say that. Well, yes, that can produce the same reaction. He's British, so you have those. The fact that this would be generational and a huge and one of the biggest matches ever, and he's fucking British. It's hard for me to see any match that hasn't been done yet, besides that, ever main eventing.
I was just saying because I said like they should say Mercedes versus Tony when it's actually going to main event a pay-per-view of just like, yeah, I will always advocate. And I'm going to be honest. Let's just be real. AEW, the roster is stacked. There's always going to be a dream match, a male dream match to run. But one of these days, I'm going to be honest, we're going to have to draw the line somewhere. Like the women do need the main event. And I think
I agree.
Yeah, like I do think
agree. And right now, well, I think that this year is obviously the time because it should always be the time. But right now, it's like you're not even really doing nothing on the men's side.
No.
You're not even really doing
And I think
nothing.
the women is like the most
And the
interesting
women are
stuff.
more entertaining.
They are.
And I think that is not just something that we're saying because we're girls. I think that is something that a lot of people would agree with. That right now, the more interesting world champion by far is Toni Storm. Right now, the more interesting mid-card title. I mean, Adam Cole just got it, so maybe that'll do something. But I mean, it's Mercedes 4 belts. It's
you know what I think is also going to be interesting coming out of All In?
It's going to be interesting.
I think because Kenny and Okada, the match will likely be a unification match. It's going to feel like a world title. Like it's going to feel like
no
it already
way it
does.
Doesn't.
Like it already, don't get me wrong, the international championship, and you can even notice from like by the Dynasty build, right? But and when after that match and like that unification match,
whoever holds
that is the world title, nigga. I don't know what to tell you.
That's the most important. That's the world title.
To the point to where that Dynamite after is gonna be so nasty and so
rude.
So nasty and so
rude.
Good luck. Like it's going to be at that point to where that's where the roster cannibalizes itself. Of just imagine
my world champion.
Imagine looking at Cash Money Kazu and telling him to go after a Death Rider segment after he went 45 in a stadium against Kenny Omega. What are we talking about?
First of all, if that happens, you will never see Kazuchika Okada again. That will be his 2 weeks immediately. But you know that. Well, like I said, I have so many interesting, I guess, questions and thoughts about this, but I don't want the stream to go on forever because I'm going sleepy. But who wins?
You know, I used to be convinced that Okada should win. I'm no longer as convinced, but I would like to be convinced back in the other direction. Like my first mind when they first started teasing it is I think Okada should win. And I'm gonna be honest, I still think that Okada should win in the sense of getting him established. But at the end of the day, I'm also kind of in the Kenny Omega defeated death. Like he defeated death. I want
he deserves
him
everything.
Everything.
See,
like
yeah, I've got the rose-colored glasses on too because in my head, Kenny Omega should have all of the belts all the time. In my ideal world, the belt collector era never ends.
and honestly, in my I told y'all, well, we said it on this show. As soon as he came back, strap him up tonight.
He shouldn't, and he shouldn't lose ever. But you know, if he was going to lose,
he's allowed to. Kenny Omega's allowed to lose to like 4 people
in like, the world before and I crash out.
That's Swerve, Hangman, Ospreay, and Okada. That's about it.
That's it. And that's you know what? The Swerve win is conditional for me.
Really?
That has to be for the world title.
I agree.
That's when I would say, all right, you know. His loss to MJF still haunts me. Anyway, but yeah, I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm trying to take those rose-colored glasses off because I just love Kenny Omega so much. But I think
really good or really terrible match.
What?
You know who I think either have a really awesome or really terrible match?
Who?
MJF and Okada. It is either going to be, really great, like to the MJF Omega stance, or it's going to be like so awful that we never talk about it again, like that MJF Ospreay match.
Oh my God. I forgot about that.
Exactly. No pop.
It wasn't that bad.
That 60-minute match, no, they need to be hogtied for that.
It wasn't that bad. You know what it was? Unnecessary. and that makes it harder to watch. I think superfluous. It was unnecessary, but was it the worst thing either one of them have ever done?
No.
Yes, I'm kidding.
Well,
You know what? But that's the thing.
I love the Oku match, so I don't know what you're talking about, Dan. But
You love what?
The Oku match, so I don't know what you're talking about. Continue though. I did. I'm sorry. I am.
You know what? You live your truth. You live your truth.
Okay.
But I was gonna say, that's the thing about Kazuchika Okada, man. We gotta know in real life how you feel about this man.
He said, you know what? And I want to say this, and we can wrap up. 2025 Kazuchika Okada and 2025 Charlotte Flair are the same person. They need to know who all gonna be there before they put in effort, and I respect it. They don't give two of the greatest, I mean the greatest big match wrestlers of our generation, two of the greatest type of when the lights are the brightest, they pulling up, they show it out. Now every other time off pay-per-view, if it's not a stadium involved,
got nothing for you, brother. Nothing for you.
Get out of your life. I don't know, man.
Now, you know what's funnier about Okada to me is that, like, especially now, 2025, he don't even talk. He's just not there.
He don't even say bitch no more.
He don't even say bitch no more.
He just sits and counts his millions. He said, don't worry, guys. My all-in performance is going to literally make up for like this whole entire first half of the year. Because I really like that.
He said, oh, Kenny's back. All right.
Let me show the word.
I'll see you in the production meeting. Oh, okay.
You can really tell it really for him. And just like Charlotte, you could tell they got to like you, bro, to give you anything. They got to give you anything. They got to like you. And I also would like to say, oh, Miss Tiffy time, your time is up. You getting cooked, sister. You, Big Ashley, man. Oh my God. It's going to
get better the other night.
I say for you.
She did better the other night, but I don't see how you recover from that first sit down. I really don't.
No, I'm talking about. Did you watch the clip from Friday?
Oh no, what day is it?
Oh my gosh! So basically, and I saw this.
She was like, "Oh yeah, 0-3." She said that,
and then ran off. Yes, you're getting cooked. You're getting cooked. She about to get buried so far in the ground. You're gonna be talking to. Oh, never mind. Let me not say that.
We got to take this stream off the internet. This is another one to go private.
No, I didn't say anything, so we're fine.
I don't know. I kind of did.
About who? You ain't say no names.
I did threaten my ex. Vaguely.
You know him. All you did was you threatened him with what did Tony say to Mariah? You may be good, but you'll never be great. They may like you, they'll never love you. She said, I sentenced you to a lifetime of mediocrity.
Yeah, bitch ass nigga.
You sentenced him to a lifetime of mediocrity.
That's true. Well, his mama sentenced him to that when he was born. But anyway.
I digress, guys. This has been fun. Honestly, this is therapeutic. I'm in a better mood now than I was when I first got on the stream. AEW took my smile. They stole my smile and my joy. No, like, guys, I'm gonna be real. Like, y'all don't get it how I feel about Hangman, man. Like, y'all stop playing with him. Stop playing with him for real. And I think I really did get into the hype. I got like 2 new Hangman merch.
We all did. We did.
We really, y'all.
We've been bamboozled.
Y'all got me. The only reason why I was even so excited, and you know this for a fact, like I was telling everybody, oh my God, come to All In. It's going to be so fun. Big Hangman Hive.
Cancel the flight. Ushers, close the doors.
Close them doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. I can't believe y'all doing this to him, man. I can't believe y'all doing this. It's don't worry about it because when he goes and he has a very successful acting career in his country westerns and he becomes the heartthrob of America, this is what you all deserve. This is exactly what you all deserve. When he retires onto his ranch and he starts writing children's books again.
I love Hangman.
I love Hangman, y'all. Man.
What did he do?
And I love my Young Bucks. I think the Hangman Swerve feud is special. I wish that all those people were in a ring and I felt something. I said the fact that y'all robbed me of feeling something when I see my favorite wrestlers all in one ring. The fact that I couldn't even smile, man.
I was dejected.
No,
I will say, there's just no universe in which Kenny Omega doesn't help. So I felt better because I said Kenny Omega's here. But
yeah,
brother, Chloe, I'm heartbroken.
Absolutely, absolutely,
and apathetic towards the All Elite Wrestling product as a result.
And I would like to see one thing that I don't think that AEW has ever done successfully is push both Kenny and Hangman as top main eventers at the same time outside of each other. And
I have so many thoughts on that. We're gonna have to do we should do a podcast episode. You want to come on my podcast, or can I come on yours? I just invited myself.
Oh my god, yes, and yes, whichever one. I would love that.
Okay, yay, how fun! Because I just have, I think maybe I'll just make a list of miscellaneous topics and we'll discuss them ad nauseum. Because that is one that I think about a lot.
Yeah, guys, we have a lot to talk about.
I bought it too, guys. I'm just raw dogging it.
Oh no. As you can see, we're a mess. This is what happens when you do bad things to our cowboy. We fall apart. It's okay. I'm not gonna lie. We didn't talk about this, and maybe we could talk about this. I don't know what we're doing next week because I'm gonna be in Vegas. I'm gonna try to
for Mercedes Athena.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to pop in because that is important. But that'll be a game time decision.
Solo stream.
I don't think we considered maybe a scenario what if it's Mox versus Hangman at All In. I don't think anybody has considered that option.
I said that that's what I said. I was like, if it's Mox versus Hangman and then Swerve's on the pursuit, but I don't think that's what they're gonna do.
I will say though, y'all, if I gotta watch Hangman Adam Page put them shoulders to the mat for some Death Rider shit, and I'm in attendance, open them doors. We're hopping the gates.
Oh my god. It's literally like how the Romans was living in the Coliseum. Like, it's gonna be some real shit, brother. It's
on like Donkey Kong. I will say I think that if I will say AEW fans don't have backbone, but if they did, if y'all really was some real hoopers, and I'm not talking about tweeting at them, I'm talking about just not watching. I'm talking about tank the ratings, just tank them to hell between now and Double or Nothing. It might happen, but people ain't gonna stand on nothing. People that I saw so many people today talk about, oh my God, thank you so much, Tony. I love this so much. I know that the Death Riders suck. I know the main event sucks, but thank you for giving me 10 minutes of something that I actually want to see. I really appreciate it. Thank you for 10 minutes out of 2 hours. That's so awesome. Yay. I don't know, guys. Well, Dani got up out of here, so I'm gonna get up out of here too. Oh no, she's here. She's here.
Sorry, that was weird. But I am falling asleep, so I do gotta go to sleep. Yeah, but oh my God, I just saw the most heinous comment. Stop manifesting Jack Perry in that wild card spot. Don't say that to me, and don't say to me that you think Hangman puts his shoulders to the mat for Jack Perry. If y'all want to see a real crash
I'm not
out,
gonna lie. Ooh, that's a real crash out, Dani. Man,
brother, can you imagine with everything else they got going on or not going on? Could you imagine?
Oh my god. Oh my god, y'all. And even if Hangman get knocked out to Owen again, bro, just I'm done. I'm done. I'm just done.
And Tony Khan is gonna have to delete Twitter off his phone.
Correct. Yeah, we are all out. Literally, we are all out. Yes. Anyway, thanks everybody. This was fun. We may or may not see you next week. I know next week is Spring Breakthrough. It's also AEW breaking the record. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm not feeling super festive, but it's also Athena versus Mercedes Day. So I'll try to be around. But even though
they keep giving us very little to cling to.
Yeah, like crumbs, a little bit of food. And it better I will say, you want to see a real crash out, I guarantee you'll get one next week. Let them not main event. Let them not main event, see what happened.
Oh, God.
I digress. You can find me at Lyric Wrestling. Subscribe at Lyric Swinton on YouTube. New podcast episode will be up though really soon. That's going to be super fun. Dani, where can we find you?
At Black Girl Wrestling. On Twitter, on YouTube. Emphasis on YouTube. I'm trying to boost that. And yeah. New podcast episode coming out tomorrow. I don't know what it's about yet, so we'll see.
Fun. Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for the Dynamite Diaries. We will see you at least in some capacity sometime soon. Yeah, soon. But until next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.